Hi, I'm Short Mike and you erase the movie Meg, Monster of the Deep, 2018. Ocean scientists are attracted to research at the depths of the ocean. Trying to conduct another study, they are running into gifts of nature, which they did not count on. Nature doesn't like to be interfered with. Unable to cope on their own, researchers and rescuers call our beloved Jason Statham as capable of dealing with this. Or maybe not, because he is also just a person. We are watching to the end, because it will be very exciting. It all starts with the fact that a nuclear submarine sank in the Philippine Trench. Arriving at the scene, Jonas Taylor, an underwater rescue specialist who arrived at the distress signal, manages to save a group of scientists, including Drive Heller, when suddenly something huge and strong rams the boat. He takes the crew out of the podlaka and manages to save almost everyone except a couple of people from his search team. They find themselves trapped by the crumpled paneling and ask for rescue. Taylor, who has already climbed to the top, hears on the radio that his partners are in the water and is already deciding to go back down, but seeing on the screen that the shark is running, he understands that when the podlaka blows, it will explode and decides to close the hatches, and on his small rescue podlaka manages to drive away a sufficient distance from the damaged submarine. The partner wants to open the hatch, but Jonas pushes him against the wall, and at that moment there is an explosion. He loses his two people, from which his conscience torments him, and he begins to drink beer like ordinary water. 5 years later, Jack Morris, a billionaire, arrives by helicopter at an underwater research base called Mana 1, which was built at his expense, and Dr. Minyu Zhang gives him a tour. The doctor introduces him to his daughter, oceanographer Swain. Then they go down to the last floor, and there the billionaire admires the view of whales and fish. Then they get acquainted with the team and talk over the phone with the guys who are already in a mini podlaka going down to the bottom of a deep section of the Mariana Trench. The fact is that a cloud of settled hydrogen sulfide can hide deeper layers of the depression from radars, and at the same time form a thermocline, the water in which is much colder than above and below it. The deep-sea bathyscaphe, which is sent to explore the space behind this hydrogen sulfide, is piloted by Lori, Taylor's ex-wife. Besides her, the Asian Toshi and the mighty Scandinavian Wall, experts in their fields, are on the bathyscaphe. They descend to the known bottom and try to descend through the fog of hydrogen sulfide. Having descended, they rejoice and look at the gorgeous views and launch a self-propelled car capable of moving along the ocean floor. Suddenly, some kind of creature appears on the radars moving right at Na. First, having crushed the self-propelled car, it moves to the podlaka. They turn to the right. Having received a blow from behind, the creature swims away and again gaining speed moves directly towards them. When colliding, the connection with the podlaka is lost and the management team does not know what to do. Although communication with the bathyscaphe is lost, the life support sensors transmit a signal that everyone is alive. They have life support for 18 hours. They make a meeting in which they recall the same Jonas who descended 10,000 kilometers into the depths to save the sunken. Despite Heller's objections, Zhang and Mac decide to go to Thailand to hire Taylor. Arriving there, they see that he drinks and drinks all the time, and trying to talk to him, he immediately says that he will not agree to any conditions, even if they offer him money. But showing a recording in which the sunken guys panic and say that Jonas was right, there is something here. He still agrees. In the podlaka, the guys restart the system and their lighting turns on, which attracts the creature again, hitting the podlaka again. A screwdriver sticks into the girl's stomach, but she tells her partners to turn off the outdoor lighting. At the station, they notice that the podlaka has an oxygen leak and the guys have only a couple of hours left. The doctor's daughter decides to go down herself until Jonas arrives. Her podlaka is launched. At this moment, Jonas arrives, talks to the baby of the girl who has already gone under the water, and begins his dive. The girl almost docked with the podlaka as that creature hits her and later wraps its tentacles around her. It turns out to be a giant squid. And having almost crushed it, the squid is eaten by an ancient huge shark 25 meters long, which the girl saw and handed over to the headquarters. The shark swims at the girl again, but she can't turn off the light. Then Jonas distracts the fish with heat guns. And the girl pops up, because her podlaka is damaged. He himself connects to the podlaka and pulls out his ex first, then Tolsiaka, the third, seeing that he does not have time to get out, shoves the letter into the pants of another guy and closes the hatch. Turns on the lights and the shark crashes into the podlaka and explodes again. Jonas with two people safely climbs out, and again in his memory there is one dead man whom he could not save. A girl runs into him and he says, "That's why I don't dive anymore." Jonas comes to Laurie's room to ask how she is. In the ward, the doctor apologizes to the savior and says that he was wrong to accuse the guy that he threw his partners in the past. The next day, the girl who accused him comes into Jonas's room and apologizes for Nas. Seeing him half naked, she clearly likes it. Next, the crew studies the megalodon. They should have died out millions of years ago, but here is a living fossil. Jonas says that a man with a megalodon is not a fight. And the slaughter and let them not call him to save other people. The girl walks around the lower floor without suspecting anything, but a shark swims up behind the armored glass looking at the girl. And then she opens her mouth and bites the glass with her teeth. Others hear it and run to find the girl, seeing a shark devour a whale. On Mana 1, the crew discovers that the Ocula has surfaced from the depths of the depression, passing through a thermal hole in the thermocline, which appeared due to the immersion of the bathyscaphes. The group, realizing the danger of this creature, decides on a small ship to track the pulse of the beacons on the megalodon. Jonas, as usual, risks his life. Having already marked the shark, he begins to swim back, and the shark follows him. He almost ends up in its mouth. Then they decide to go down in a cage to pierce a shark for a weak spot. The girl, who already has some sympathy for Jonas, decides to do this. Small sharks swim up to the cage, but after a while, feeling that a big one is approaching, they swim away. And now the predator collides with the cage and the girl aims at his eye, blinding the predator with azure. The predator swims away. At night, to gain speed and opening its mouth will cling to the cage. The cable pulled the boat behind it. The predator tries not to bite through the cage, but to swallow it, and Jonas can't stand it and dives after it, swimming along the cable. After pulling the dead megalodon onto the ship, and taking pictures with him, Taylor notices that the teeth of this megalodon are smaller than the bite marks on the lower deck of the station that he attacked earlier. A man who has fallen into the water without suspecting anything is struggling. And at this moment, a second megalodon appears, much larger than the first, and grabs the carcass of the first to devour it, simultaneously destroying the hull of the ship and swallowing Wall. On the second attack of the megalodon, Heller begins to flutter, distracting the shark, and it eats him instead of Laurie. They sit on two motor trays and float in the direction of the station. Morris calls a support helicopter that tags the shark with a sensor and scares the shark away, evacuating the crew to the station. From the injuries received during the destruction of the boat, Drive. Jong dies, saying last farewell words to his daughter. When dusk falls, Morris tries to destroy the second megalodon by ordering the helicopter crew to drop modified depth charges on it. He swims up to the corpse of a supposed megalodon on a yacht, but discovers that it is a whale. The megalodon approaches the yacht, the crew of which accelerates, and Morris falls overboard and is killed by a shark. Taylor and the remaining Mana 1 team find a way to track the shark. They realize that the megalodon is on its way to a crowded beach in Sanya Bay on the Chinese coast, and decide to destroy it. Having come up with their own plan, in which they want to trap her and also put poison into her. A shark is noticed on the beach and panic is raised. The shark swims under the swimmers and at the moment begins to attack. The megalodon devours several swimmers before the Mana 1 team plays the whale's calling sound to distract the shark's attention from the swimming people and beckoning the megalodon to itself. Having lowered two submarines into the water, they wait for the predator to swim up to the bait. Attacks the side of the girl's podlaka. She dodges, and then Jonas, dodging her, brings her to another podlaka, so that the girl would fire a rocket. But it gets past, causing a little damage to the shark. Next, the girl leads the predator to Danya's, and he, pressing the rocket launch button, realizes that it does not work. The helicopters that flew into the spectacle, filming everything from above, did not see each other and collided. One is flying straight to the ship. People jump overboard, including that girl's daughter. She decides to swim to her daughter, leaving Jonas alone. Jonas manages to cut the megalodon's stomach in the fight, literally ripping it open, but the shark turns around and opens its mouth and almost breaks through the glass of the podlaka. Jonas swims out of her, clings to the shark with a knife and sticks a harpoon with poison in her eye. Diving out of the water with the shark, he thrusts the harpoon even deeper into it. The dead carcass attracts other common sharks, which devour the megalodon. The survivors get together again drinking seagulls. Taylor tells Sweeney that it would be nice to get some rest. This is where the film ends.